Avatar: The Last Airbender, the Netflix adaptation, episode 4, is a much better episode than last week's episode I talked about. I really hated that episode. This episode still has problems. We'll get into that. I would say the main problem with this episode is what they do to King Boomy. It's blatant character assassination. King Boomy is a character who's supposed to be very goofy, very lighthearted, and when he and in the episode where we're introduced to him, he plays a bunch of games to make Aang recognize who he is, because it's been 100 years and he's aged. Obviously, they don't know each other the same, and that episode was fun. You get this episode where he's a jaded, almost psychopathic character who has no remorse that Aang has lost his entire family, essentially, and even Aang states as much. And so I felt nothing when his character returned to his goofy side by the end of the episode, because they just blatantly assassinated this character, which is unfortunate because the actor who plays the character is so well done in his role. And he looks exactly like the character. He sounds exactly like the character. So when that goofiness comes in, I almost felt something. But the way they assassinated the character just ruined that. Also, I don't know why they decided to adapt the tunnel storyline. Because, honestly, the problem with this show overall, ignoring just the other problems, is that you have to condense storylines of the original show because you want to make it 8 episodes instead of 26, right? Which is fine. Do that. There's ways to do that, make it work. It'll still have some issues, but why would you adapt the tunnel storyline? The episode... One of the episodes that I argue could be theoretically removed and not really have any problems with that. I get what they're going for, which is to have Sokka and Katara work through the issues, but they could have had that same storyline tie into the King Boomy storyline where, there was a threat that Aang and Katara wouldn't get freed from their prisons. Or not Aang and Katara. Katara and Sokka wouldn't get freed from their prisons. If Aang didn't finish these challenges with Boomy. It was really, why are we doing this? Also, they removed the fun of that storyline, which is the comedic energy of Sokka getting all mad at these hillbilly-type characters that were super irritated and not very intelligent. Fuck this shit. It was just... I don't understand. They basically adapted 2 storylines from the original show, removed their comedic aspects, and then just threw them here. It just did not feel right. What was actually really good is Zuko and Iroh's storyline, which was very powerful, I thought. Because this episode deals with, Iroh being taken by these Earthbenders. These Earthbenders are very angry at Iroh because of what he did to some of the cities he was taking over while he was, super involved in the Fire Nation and no longer is. You see that, you very clearly see Iroh's a different person, so it actually feels painful when this Earthbender, starts attacking him and being savage to him. It's just heartbreaking. Then you get that flashback of the funeral of Iroh's son, and just seeing how everybody comes up to Iroh and is like, your son, he will be a great memory of the Fire Nation, yada yada yada. Talking about how and basically in a way, they're only talking about how he died, where Zuko actually comes to Iroh and shares his memories of him for how he lived. and you can tell it touches Iroh. Is very much in tears, and you feel that fatherly connection that Iroh has to Zuko in that moment. And the actor who plays Iroh is freaking incredible. The actor who plays Zuko actually does an incredible job in this episode as well. He was a little bit rough getting into the role in the first few episodes, but he's fantastic in this episode. And then that moment where Iroh and Zuko had that flashback when they're first leaving on their search for the Avatar was beautiful. And that moment where Aang and Iroh were talking at the beginning, and he's just saying things about Zuko that were just touching. It's really great stuff. So this is a mixed bag of an episode. I had some things I really hated about it, but overall I think I enjoyed the episode, and I'm starting to like this show more. It's still not better than the animation, and it still really doesn't have a reason to fucking exist, but it's still better than I thought it would be.